Hello guys, TKG here for your comfortable LostArk life. Today, I'd like to cover the recent changes in the KL region. Recently, I uploaded 2 videos about the Ark Grid contents. In the meantime, there has been a lot of negative feedback in the Korean community. So this time, I'd like to discuss some of the unreasonable aspects of this new contents, share feedback from various players, and offer my own perspective. First of all, let's talk about Ark Grid. In many ways, it's at the very center of the recent discussions. Honestly, even before its release, Ark Grid sparked a lot of concerns and opinion from the community. This was because similar system had been attempted in other games before, often resulting in failures or the contents being scrapped altogether. At first, Ark Grid seemed like a fairly decent features. On the surface, it was introduced as a continuous farming system, and it was explained that once you complete the perfect build, your character's performance would improve significantly. The real issue, though, lies beneath. As shown in my previous videos, the process of creating a perfect build for Ark Grid is extremely challenging. Honestly, trying to achieve something meaningful in a short amount of time is nearly impossible. First, in order to create a stable character build with strong performance, you need to have matching or very similar sub-concept. As I've demonstrated before, there's also a wide variety of these, and even just the core themselves are divided into 2 types, order and chaos, making the difficulty even greater. If you look at the numbers alone, there are 54 possible core combinations. But to actually activate the effects, you need cores with matching or similar concepts. That's not the end of the challenge. Cores also had grade or levels, such as Legendary, Relic, and Ancients. The issue here is that each course comes with a set cost. For Legendary cores, it's actually very difficult to achieve a complete setup because of these costs. Realistically, only Relic and Ancient cores can be set up properly, but obtaining Relic and Ancient cores is significantly more challenging. As of now, it's safe to say that players who have acquired Ancient cores and managed to get matching or identical sub-concepts are extremely rare, probably only a handful across all servers. Moreover, the cores are not meant to be used alone. Their effects are maximized when activated as a set, which add another layer of complexity to the contents. As previously discussed, each course contains sub-concepts, and these sub-concepts are not independent. They interact with one another. To fully activate the effects, you need 2 cores with identical or similar sub-concepts, making the farming process considerably more difficult. Additionally, the core's level must be appropriate to truly benefit from its effects, which further raises the difficulty of these contents. Furthermore, as shown in earlier videos, each course is linked to a separate gem system. In other words, cores alone are essentially unusable without the right gems. These gems, in turn, are divided into 2 types with 3 concepts each, and you must go through several steps to obtain viable options. That means even the gem contents comes with its own sets of hurdles that need to be cleared before you can actually use it. The problem is that this process is extremely difficult to complete, and at the same time, it is a content system that relies heavily on luck. While it is true that the game motivates players by providing gems through daily contents, which encourages ongoing participations, the main issues stem from the high degrees of difficulty and the amount of gold required. Ark Grid is fundamentally a gold sink contents, and progress can only be made through continuous efforts. If you look at the auction house right now, useful gems are selling at very high prices. Even if you try to craft them yourself, it is still quite expensive. There are people who have spent millions, even tens of millions of gold trying to make just 1 gems, and yet they still haven't completed it. To make matters worse, you need 4 gems for a single course, and since there are 6 cores in total, you ultimately need 24 gems. Realistically, completing this in a short period is nearly impossible. Moreover, another issue that has been raised is that the Ark Grid system, unlike other LostArk systems, is not fixed and continuously requires spending gold. In short, it is a paid feature that is also susceptible to luck and is heavily influenced by balance patches. Unlike systems like Elixir or Transcendence, which have fixed values, Ark Grid can be structurally changed at any time, making it even more problematic. For many characters, the Ark Grid brings significant changes to core mechanic and skills, but this can lead to serious gap between classes, especially when updates and balance patches are applied unevenly. If some classes receive updates quickly and others slowly, structural gaps and feelings of unfairness among players might grow even worse. The persistent issue of imbalance could become even more pronounced in Ark Grid, and it's uncertain whether developers will be able to address this emerging structural problem swiftly. If the gap between characters continue to widen, it will likely become an even more severe issue for the game. Moreover, as expected, there was a recent balance patches for Ark Grid. The problem lies in the nature of this update itself. Right now, only a handful of players have managed to activate Ark Grid, whether that's reaching Legendary Cores 14 points or Relic Cores 17 points, with the right concept aligned. This brings up skepticism and dissatisfaction about whether the update were truly based on solid data. As mentioned before, many players are essentially forced to use incomplete Ark Grid, yet most still remains in an inactive state, unable to fully utilize the system. Then, almost out of nowhere, the recent Ark Grid balance patch dramatically nerfed and buffed stats by anywhere from 10% to 90%, which is almost unbelievable. It leaves you wondering if the system was properly tested before rolling out these changes. Furthermore, the promise to make balance update based on accumulated data and metrics has seemingly been broken, which is disappointing and undermines trust. There's a growing suspicion that these sudden changes were made as a reaction to players sharing strategies for Ark Grid usage in Trizions, rather than through a careful, data-driven process. And what's even more surprising is that these adjustments weren't just minor tweaks. They were sweeping changes ranging from 10% to as much as 90%. To be honest, I'm really unsure about the direction of the game right now. As I've mentioned several times in my videos, this new Ark Grid doesn't seem to align with the previous communication and direction we were told. Imagine if we actually managed to complete our Ark Grid setup. Well, they recently said that the newest class Valkyrie will be able to switch between supported DPS builds with flexibility. But can we really change a fully completed Ark Grid build that easily? I'm honestly doubtful. In reality, this is the sustainable farming system in a sense. After all, Ark Grid farming elements are included in daily contents, which does give players some motivation. But the real question is, will that motivation outweigh the frustration of not completing it even after a long time? I'm not so sure. Speaking as someone who's played this game for a long time, I had to admit, I just don't know. This Ark Grid system feels like something that goes beyond what the game can reasonably handle. It is so complex and honestly rather messy. If they are able to control all these factors, then that would be great. But if not, honestly, I feel like it might actually be better to move on to the next season and start fresh. Of course, as someone who genuinely wants the game to succeed, I really hope Ark Grid can become content that the developers can manage effectively. That's it for this video. Thanks for watching, everyone. And always, thanks for your big support. Hope this video was a little help for your LostArk journey. And of course, if you like my videos, hit the sub for more upcoming infos. I'll come back with more useful infos in the next video.